I'm Teisha Bader with the JBS News Update for Wednesday, September the 7th, 2016. The IDF said that a projectile landed in the Israeli side of the Golan Heights this afternoon. It was said to have landed in an open area and no damage or injury was reported. The IDF was looking into the incident, but it is thought to have been another case of spillover from the fighting in Syria. Regardless, Israel holds the Syrian regime responsible for any fire into Israel. Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu continued meetings on his second day in the Netherlands today. Yesterday, he addressed the press together with Dutch Prime Minister Mark Rutte, where he praised the ties between Israel and the Netherlands. Rutte spoke to the press as well, where he stated his support for a two-state solution. He also defended Holland's labeling of products made in the West Bank, which he said was in accordance with EU law and not in any way a boycott. Regarding the boycott, divestment, and sanctions campaign targeting Israel, Rutte said that it was protected under the freedom of expression and freedom of assembly, but added that his own government did not back the BDS campaign and sought deeper economic ties with Israel. And in what appears to be the latest effort of the BDS movement, a British musician has barred an Israeli dance company from using his music. The UK's Guardian newspaper reported that Brian Eno, who was a member of the band Roxy Music and is known as a supporter of BDS, wrote a letter to the renowned Batsheva dance company, telling them it was unacceptable for them to use his composition Neroli during their performances, after Eno learned that the company's current tour of Italy is being sponsored by the Israeli embassy in Rome. An 87-year-old Holocaust denier has been sentenced to prison in Germany. Ursula Haverbeck is known for her vocal denial and has been sentenced and fined for remarks she has made in the past. Most recently, in February, Haverbeck wrote a letter to the mayor of Detmold, Germany, the city where the trial of former Auschwitz guard Reinhold was taking place, saying that the death camp was, quote, nothing more than a labor camp, and that Jews were never exterminated there. Haverbeck has now been sentenced to 8 months in prison for Holocaust denial and incitement to hatred. She reportedly plans to appeal. Back in November, she was given a 10-month sentence, which was suspended. In Germany, to publicly deny, endorse, or play down the extermination of Jews during the Holocaust is against the law. Ynet reports that Israeli passengers waiting for their return flight to Israel from Serbia at the end of last month complained after a gate announcement said their flight was to Palestine. Land crew at Serbia's Nikola Tesla International Airport in Belgrade announced to Air Serbia passengers that boarding had begun for the flight to Palestine, shocking the Israelis waiting to board. They then went to the airline's desk and said they would refuse to board until the flight was called traveling to Israel. The manager at the desk reportedly responded, saying that the flight was to Tel Aviv, not Israel. Ultimately, a new announcement was made that the flight was going to Tel Aviv, and the Israelis boarded but lodged a complaint with the airline. The CEO of Air Serbia expressed shock at the incident and told the Israeli ambassador to Serbia, Alona Fisher-Kam, that the incident was completely unacceptable. Complaints were also issued at the Israeli embassy in Serbia, and Israeli Foreign Ministry spokesman Emmanuel Nachshon called the incident very disturbing and said it required an investigation. Nachshon said it's inconceivable that an airport employee with a microphone can try and change reality in such a defiant and false manner. He said the Israeli embassy in Serbia will deal with the issue, making it a high priority. 2 professors at Hebrew University will be receiving Columbia University's Horowitz Prize for 2016. Howard Cedar and Aaron Raisin are both pioneers in the field of epigenetics, the study of how organisms change by altering gene expression and not genetic code. Also awarded the prize Gary Felsenfeld of the National Institutes of Health in Bethesda. Many winners of the Columbia Prize go on to win the Nobel. And taking a look now at our programming for tonight on JBS for Wednesday, September the 7th. At 7 o'clock, Professor Jerome Chanis of CUNY talks about how the American presidential administrations of the 20th century each interacted with the State of Israel in a JBS exclusive coverage of Limud 2016. At 8, a celebration of the early life and music of Irving Berlin from the Museum of Eldridge Street in New York City. At 9, Mark Golub sits down with film critic and author Rabbi Herbert Cohen, who co-hosts Kosher Movies. He discusses his favorite films and their connections to values of the Jewish tradition. That's on L'chaim. And at 10, the American Jewish Historical Society's biennial Scholars Conference with novelist Dara Horn and Anna Solomon, who join Joshua Lambert to discuss the uses of history in American Jewish fiction. And coming up right after this newscast tonight, Thinking Out Loud with Micah Halpern. And that's the JBS News Update for Wednesday, September the 7th, 2016. I'm Teisha Bader.